One thing for sure, dog. If life goes back to normal by February, we gotta go down. You know what I'm saying, to the Super Bowl.
In
It's
Tampa.
in Tampa. You know what I'm saying, and especially if the Chiefs in it,
We
which
already-
they probably gonna be in it.
We already know Mahomes and them boys gonna be up in there getting that second straight ring.
It's a done deal, man. We're gonna be in the Super Bowl. Hopefully the Bucks can actually be in it. But
Yeah.
yes sir, yes sir.
Anyway, it's JG3.
It's AME.
I'm Lucrative.
I go by the name of Ashton Martin.
And this is the ingredient where many things go into making many things.
Many things.
How you feeling, bro?
Plenty of things. I'm good, man. I felt a lot better than last week. You know what I'm saying? I think I said
Word.
something about I was kind of up and down. But this week I'm kind of getting back in my mojo, getting back creative and working on some things. And so.
Oh yeah, me too, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm actually working on an EP right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Same
But-
here. Same here.
But before we get into that, we got some good food right here. What do we got, Ashton Martin?
Look like we got some loaded potatoes with some shrimps and some
Ooh.
cheese and all that.
Well
you know
seasoned.
What I'm saying? Well seasoned.
That's what-
My girl gotta eat. Shout out for providing this for this episode. And
Yes.
let's see what we got going on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get a little shrimp in mine.
Yep. I'm gonna get 2 pieces of shrimp in my first bite. This is my first bite, by the way. This is my first bite, not my second. I hadn't started yet. I swear to God.
Oh, it's good though.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was good. Anyway, man, like we said, we both working on some EPs, right?
Yeah. Both working on some EP projects and
Yeah.
yeah,
What's
man.
what's some of your inspirations, like, lyrically, sonically, right now while working on this?
I think this EP, my inspiration is kind of feeling in the mood of like being slept on. So that's what's gonna come out a lot with this. I'm really coming in with a lot of energy with this because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's time again. It's time to wake them back
Word.
up, and I feel like it's time for me to just talk this time. You feel me? So that's why I'm going with this one.
See, with this one, mine's a little bit more like I've been getting like more emotional with this one. It's a lot more melodic, and the content is a little bit more like kind of just talking about what's been going on. Like I have some songs about being depressed on there. I got some songs about like relationships, all that type of stuff, man. So I just been kind of getting in that, I've been kind of getting into that bag, getting a little like emo with it. So yeah, man, I'm excited for people to hear the new sound. You know what I mean?
Shoot, I'm excited for it, man. I can't wait to hear what that comes out and what it's sounding like. Yes, sir.
Man, so I heard like during all this quarantine, man, you've been doing some collabs and stuff with with some artists overseas. Ain't that what you was talking about?
Yeah, man. So pretty much what was going on, right? It kind of was in the works of beforehand. So when we went to the Netherlands, I met this guy. It was crazy. I was posted in the little area, and you know what I'm saying. When I get in those type of environments, I'm like networking like crazy, more than I normally would. I just seen him sitting there, so I just went and talked to him. Yo, what's good? My name is Ashton Martin. Da. First, seeing if they even speak English, because you know what I'm saying. Sometimes some people might not even speak English,
Yep.
and then he came speaking perfect English back to me. So I'm like, oh shoot, okay. So you know what I'm saying. We talked a little bit. I found out he was from Florida as well. He was from down south, and he was staying over in Spain and working on a couple of things. So we met then, chopped it up, and then when we went to France, I don't know if you remember when we was at the steps, it was a guy that I spoke to. He was coming down, and we spoke. He was like, oh, what's up? You know what I'm saying? He had his homie with him. That was the same guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we met again.
That was
there.
like right when we was about to leave con.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
We met again there.
Wow.
And so he hit me up later when he got back in the States. And pretty much what he had been doing is putting together this whole it's kind of like a movement. He's taking bands, artists from all over the world, literally all over the world, and like just putting this all together. And he's working on an album pretty much. Like a big compilation album. And he named his group entitled The Astral Voyage. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so like now he's beginning to put some promo into it, working on the album. And I dropped a verse for one of the songs on the album. And then we also got a single coming out. It's not a part of Astral Voyage, but you know what I'm saying? It's me and another artist from somewhere in Europe. And we put together, got the single dropping soon. So The single is called "Elevate Me," which should be coming out soon. So hopefully in a couple of
Word.
months. We had some plans coming in, but then COVID kind of like
Yeah.
got crazy. So but we've been connecting. But shout out to my guy Jason Frost, man, and the whole Astro Voyage team. But that's one of the international vibes. I was on Instagram one day, and I seen this message request. So I looked at it. I'm like, okay, what's going on, man? What somebody want? Somebody must want something. You know how you always get the little spammers and all that. That's what I expected it to be. And this rapper was like, "Yo, I'm a rapper from Iran. I wanna collab." I'm like, "Oh shoot, yeah, heck yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do it." So we dropped the track. I dropped my verse on the track, and it's pretty much still in the mix. And it's a UK artist that also dropped the verse on it as well. And he hit me up again, and he was just like telling me that rap is pretty much illegal in Iran.
What?
I had no idea. Like I didn't even know this. I
That's
don't even know like how
crazy.
you can make a music genre illegal, but apparently it's illegal over there. So he was trying to connect and
Wild.
collab.
I wonder like how many like music artists we've missed out on from like countries where like hip hop's illegal. You know what I mean?
There's no telling. Apparently they got like some underground scene, but of course they can never have like any type of mainstream.
You gotta really love music to like
Do it, and it's
to do it
illegal.
illegally in a country like that, man. That's crazy. You gotta
Man.
really love music, man.
They probably got studios like trap houses. Somebody
Yup.
looking out for the police. Okay. All right, we good. Go ahead and start recording.
Yup.
Like, it's wild.
Wow.
But, man, apparently that's how it is over there. I had no idea, man. But, man, shout out to Real Tan. And, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
We
that's
gonna
like
keep it
beautiful,
going.
man.
Keep it moving.
That's like beautiful because like now like we're able to connect with artists all around the world that like
Exactly.
you know like if we was from a different era like we would have never met these people or never connected with them or like you know
For sure.
collab
man.
with them like that's something that would have never happened. So that's dope that we're able to do that. You know what I mean?
The
And
power of the
it's like-
internet, man.
It's like all it is just hitting somebody up on IG. You know what I mean? You can work with someone from halfway across the world.
Yeah, you never know, man. It's crazy. Like, people hit me up all the time from different places. I just dropped a verse from this dude, like, in Milwaukee. I've
Yep.
never been to Milwaukee. I couldn't even point Milwaukee out on the map. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he hit me up and, you know, we
Yep.
collab like that. But
like you don't even have to like work with a producer from like where you're from. Like
Nah.
you know what I mean? Like if that's not your sound, you could just find a producer. You know what I mean? Like online and just from like Cali or whatever. You know what I mean? A lot of the people I work from, you know, like I work with, they from Cali.
Yeah.
So like
For sure,
that's
man.
hard, man.
I think like my last project I put out, it was only one producer I worked with from Florida, and he was from Jacksonville. Other than that, my guy Wesley Beast, OKC,
Yep.
Christ Lights from Texas. Like it's all over different places. You know what I'm saying? And you never know, man. Like your sound, it'll be people creating. Like for example, it's a guy from the UK that I worked with on my last project. He did Cutting Up. If you listen to Cutting Up, it sounds like either a Cali or a Florida sound. You would swear like this producer has to be from either Cali or Florida. This guy's way in the UK when he made that beat. So you never know like what type of producer produces different songs. They may not even be feeling that sound over there. You know what I'm saying? But he can connect with artists where we're from and we'll gravitate. He's like, oh yeah, this is us. This our lane right here. You know what I'm saying? And you never know, man.
That reminds me, bro. This is kind of off subject, but like I got this friend. He's this funny dude. He's from Florida, and he told me a couple times that he thinks that California copies off of Florida. Is that true?
I think we borrow from each other.
Because he gave me like 4 examples. He said Hollywood, Florida, Hollywood,
True
California.
facts.
He said something about the oranges.
Yeah, oranges. Orange our
said-
state, our fruit capital, our fruit, whatever you call it, man. It's the fruit of the state. The oranges.
Disney,
Disney.
and he named something
Disney
else. I
World,
forgot what it was.
Disneyland.
Yeah, I forgot the 4th thing was, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny, man. Like that was just a funny thing that he said. But shout out to Cali and shout out to Florida, man. Shout out to both.
Yeah, y'all
of them.
stop jotting now. I'm playing. Nah, we really do like we got. I think it's just because we are a lot similar people, and we relate a lot. Where I'm from, the people in Cali, because we have the same type of vibes. I feel like we kind of go through the same type of stuff, and we have it's kind of like it's two sides, just like it is in California. Just like you got the tourists that comes in, and they only see that part of California. You have tourists that come into Florida, they only see this part of Florida, but it's a real, like, it's people who really live, who really, like, go through stuff here. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that's why I listen to a lot of Cali artists because I feel like they shed that same light on their area, their same story. I feel like we have similar stories. So.
What was your so did you get a chance to check out the new Baby album, The Baby?
Yeah. I had a chance to check it out. I wouldn't say I was impressed. I wasn't impressed by it, for real. Damn. But it's a The Baby album. Like I don't go to The Baby albums to be expecting to be blown out the water. You know what I'm saying? I expect some vibes on the. You know what I'm saying? And
well, The Baby is one of my he's artists I listen to a lot, man. I listen to Baby probably every day or every day. I listen to him a lot. You know what I mean? I like his last project better, Kirk.
I think Kirk was better to me.
But I do think there's a couple records on this new one that I think will do some damage this summer. I think that Nasty song with Meg.
Oh, of course.
That song's gonna blow.
That's gonna go off.
Because
that's gonna go off.
Y'all love that nasty shit. So
with Ashanti too, man. Ashanti and Meg, like that's a go off the rip.
Ashanti sounded good on that song, man.
Yeah, she did.
Sounded great. I heard Ashanti on the song
and she's been. Did you listen to the Tory Lanez chick tape, the last chick tape he put out? Mm-hmm. You know that she did that.
She was on there.
Yeah, she did the same exact song. She's making so much bread off that song that she put out in like 2005 or something.
Shout out to Ashanti.
Still making
and she looks
bread.
great.
That's
she
the
looks
GOAT,
great.
man. That's the GOAT. Shout out to Ashanti, dog.
Yeah.
The whole Murder Inc., man. They held that era down, dog. Nobody can compete and say any different.
Do you think that Ja Rule was the first Drake?
I wouldn't. That's kind of tough right there. I wouldn't say it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like Ja Rule definitely made it cool to be melodic in hip hop. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if ironically, if it wasn't a Ja Rule, there wouldn't be a 50 Cent. Ironically, you know what I'm saying? It's ironic that sound. Even though 50 Cent is known for his antics and the things he do. Like if you listen to his music, 50 Cent is actually very melodic in the way he deliver his stuff.
Man, props to 50 and Ja for hating each other for 20 plus years.
20 plus.
I don't know how
hard,
they hold it. Those two are lifelong enemies. Like to this day.
to this day.
They still hate each other, man. Like that is amazing.
We are not letting it go.
They need to get an award for like hating each other for that long. Man.
I've never seen that happen in the game. Eventually, people would just be like, they petty individuals. So I guess that's just what it is.
It kind of reminds me of when Matt Barnes drove like nine hours to go whoop his baby mama's new dude. I forgot his name, but like, bro, like how do you drive 9 hours and you're just mad the whole time?
You gotta stay mad that whole time, that whole 9 hour drive. Like, wait till I get there. Ooh, when I get there, just wait.
When I get there, like, man, those two, man, they need to do like a celebrity boxing match or something. 50 and Ja, man.
I don't think them two in the same building wouldn't be a good outcome in general. Like even they cliques, like bro, somebody
45 years old just wanting to beat each other up.
It's not good, man. The game in 50 beef didn't even last that long.
Nope.
Like they let it go after a while, you know what I'm saying? Even though they still was petty about it, they still was like, you know what, whatever.
So speaking of petty, what do you think about all the protests? You know, do you think it's early or do you think it's on time?
I'm gonna say this, and this is what I always stand by.
Hot take.
Protest is cool, but protest is like the initial thing when it comes to action. You know what I'm saying? There always has to be some type of action before. Like if you just protesting just to protest, it's usually gonna end up chaotic, and that's how I kind of feel like it's very chaotic. It's it's no purpose to it. Like what is this and I may not know enough about it, but I don't see what this protest is exactly trying to accomplish. I just see people that's like kind of, aggravated and agitated and angry about something, but it's kind of like, I feel like when you protest, you got to have a specific purpose. Like, this is what I'm demanding right here. This is why I'm protesting. Mm-hmm. And then it has to be something that follows up from that.
Yeah, and, they're starting to reopen a lot of things. I feel like it's too early. I mean, I understand, but I do feel like it's too early. I feel like we're putting a lot of people's lives at risk. I know here in Georgia, they're reopening, and Georgia's still rising. Like, Georgia still hasn't even hit its peak yet. You know what I mean? We're probably in the middle of our peak, and we're reopening, and I think that's kind of sad, actually. I think it's going to be a big mistake, but, I have no say-so.
Yeah, man. We'll just have to see how it plays out, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, I think it's kind of, a lot of it's out of fear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of
Pressure.
people, pressure and fear for the economy, and so people are kind of just wanting to hurry up and get things back to normal without taking the proper precautions. But at the same time, on the other side, it's kind of like we gotta get started somehow. It's kind of like we gotta take some type of steps to getting things back to normal,
Phases,
or we're
you know
just
what I
gonna
mean?
cry. Like it's eventually gonna be no America no more. Like you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think they said they would have like certain phases. Like if you hit this checkpoint, we could do phase one. The only thing is Georgia hadn't even hit the first checkpoint yet, and they're already starting to do phase one. You know what I mean? But
it's crazy.
we just gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We
I
gonna
heard
keep an eye on
that Florida actually it's
the beaches.
They made it. Yeah, they made it through a couple of their phases, and they're starting to open up the beach. I heard Jacksonville open their beach back up. So
Shout out to Duval.
shout out to Duval. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. I personally don't think there's gonna be a lot of people at the beach, but who knows? We'll see.
Oh yeah, Florida artist that you mentioned.
Yeah, my dog Burger. He actually dropped a project. And he was on my top 5 on the last episode.
Yep.
And he released a project. Talking. Hold on. Let me see what it's called before I give him his proper justice. Permanent Scars. He had recently dropped a single with Derez and Shine that was doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? That really took him to a new height. And he dropped a project. It's actually pretty fire, but it's what I expect from him. It's pretty dope. He got some dope features. He got Boosie. He got a couple people from Florida. And a couple other artists on there, man. It's a pretty dope project. So if you haven't heard that, definitely check it. If you haven't heard of Burger in general,
check it out.
It's definitely a good intro for you to, listen to him and get into his vibes.
So you said he's in your top 5?
In my top 5 in Florida, yeah.
So
top 5 Florida artists.
So speaking of a guy that's in everybody's top 5, the GOAT, right?
Legote.
AKA MJ. AKA I don't know. But the MJ documentary has dropped. Well, the first 2 episodes. Have you got a chance to check it out?
I heard a lot about it, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
I got to check out the first 2, man. Like, I was never old enough to watch MJ play, but growing up, MJ, man, is like become like folklore at this point. You know what I mean? It's become like a character, but he's not. He's a real man, and like it's dope, man. Like you could see his dedication. There's like this part where he had broke something in his foot, and I guess he like healed up some, and he went to go play like 5-on-5, and the Bulls didn't know it, and he was wanting to come back, but he was ready. But the doctors was like, "There's a 10% chance that if you could like hurt it again, and you'll never be able to play again." And MJ was like, "Well, bet, let me play." And everybody was like, "Are you crazy? There's a 10% chance you can never play again." But man,
I'll take those odds.
But man, it just goes to show his dedication and like just kind of the contrast of what we see in today's NBA, where there's the load management. You know what I mean? Like that was a whole different era. Now, when you think about the load management that they do now, and then somebody whose career was on the line and like he wanted to play during a losing season,
man,
that's insane.
I think the difference back then, it was more based off the passion of the game. Yeah. And now it's more of a business. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, speaking of business, something that I always give people the business in, Mortal Kombat, they actually released a movie. So here's the thing about like people who don't know much about Mortal Kombat. It's known for being ultra violent. Like that's the thing. That's the whole theme of Mortal Kombat. It's the fatality. They made up fatality, and you know what that is. That means that I'm finna kill you in the most gruesomest, embarrassing way. And in the game,
we're gonna break your back and everything.
Exactly. In the game, that's just the spirit of it. It's like, yes, I beat you. Now I'm finna just humiliate you. And so, like in the movies before, when they made movies about it, it never really portrayed that much. It was always like PG-13, so they couldn't really do as much. So they recently released a cartoon of it. And it's pretty much kind of based off Scorpion. Scorpion is like one of the characters that got popular like later on. And I watched it. It was pretty cool. I guess it depends on what you're going for. If you like one of those nerds that's down to the book with stuff, you're probably not gonna like it because the story is probably not gonna be all that to you. But if you just want to come see some dope fighting scenes and Scorpion killing a bunch of people and you know what I'm saying, some great fighting scenes, and it's lit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. But yeah, man, that's pretty much how I feel.
Did you ever watch the Mortal Kombat movie that came out in the 80s? It's like known as one of like the worst movies of all time.
90s. I had it on tape.
It's funny.
Yeah, I had it on tape, and it's crazy because when I was younger, I didn't even know it was a bad movie. I was like,
You don't
this
know.
is fire, right? This is it. We got a Mortal Kombat movie. That's
Watch
all
it now,
I
you're
knew.
like, what the?
And then I go back and watch it. I was like, yeah, this is kind of lame for real. I don't know why they did this.
Yeah,
it was terrible. They
Um,
casting was good, though. I feel like they had good casting for the characters, but like the way they did the characters was like lame.
I got a
bruh.
few like guilty pleasure movies that like are like that I know are bad, but I still like them. You know that movie
Don't start on the Street Fighter movie.
Nah, there's a movie called 2012, and it's about like the end of the world, and like I don't know why I still to this day I like that movie still, but I know that's not a good movie. Like I know it's not a good film, but I still love it.
You know, I did not watch that movie. I never
Check
seen
it out,
before.
man.
I think I seen it and I looked at it like it looks like it's not gonna be a good movie.
I will say the effects are amazing. Like they make like the end of the world. Like the effects are great, but just like the story, it just like there's no story. Just people trying to like live.
Was that the one where they had the Statue of Liberty like getting like it got drowned out? Like
I think so.
Okay, I think I
I
remember.
think it ends with like they like get on an ark.
Yeah,
And like the only continent that was not affected was like Africa. So they all go to Africa, and then like that's the end of the movie. They go to like Africa, and everything's all good.
Yeah, everything's good now. It's the end of the world. We all in Africa.
Yep.
I guess it was like back where we started again, huh?
Yep. Speaking of where we started, how was like I was watching this documentary on like different parenting styles and stuff like that, and I was thinking like about my parents, like my mom, you know, best mom in the world. She was more like the disciplinarian, and my dad was more like not the disciplinarian. He was more just like cool, you know what I mean? Like, what about you? Did you have like a, you know, like how was your parents with like parenting styles and stuff like that?
I would say when my dad was around, he was a great example of how to be a good father, because it was kind of like the balance between discipline and like, you know what I'm saying, at the same time still, you know what I'm saying, like he had the freedom with it, but of course around my age, around me growing up, he kind of was in and out my life. My mom was more the disciplinarian up until, because I was an independent child too, and she knew it. So when I got to a certain age, it was kind of like she just let me kind of learn as I go, you know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of life things that was happening too that made me forced to be like that. But I do see that it's two different styles. So I remember I told you I was watching the Ozark, you know what I'm saying, right? And so I got to season 3. And in season 3, they displayed two different parenting styles, because they have the main characters who are like very transparent with their kids. They let their kids know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? But then they have another character that comes into play, and their kids come into play, and they totally shelter them from anything that's going on. They don't let them know anything at all. Like everything's just roses and daisies this way. That's all you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of brings, it's one of those shielded protective, and it brings the two different sides. It's kind of like you have the very transparent and you have the overprotected, shielded, you know what I'm saying? And of course I feel like as parents, it should always be a balance in between the two, because you can't let your child know everything, but at the same time,
you can't just like not tell them shit about the world.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the people that I respect growing up the most is because of their transparency. Like my grandpa played a big influence in my life, and I feel like I respected him a lot because he was always 1,000 with me, no matter what. Even if I ain't want to hear it, he kept it like all the way, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't just say things just to say them. He always gave his experience with it. So it brought another light. It's like, I'm telling you not to do this, not just to not tell you to do it, but I'm telling you because I did this and this is what happened. So it's like you think about it different, like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see, you know, it's a transparency.
I haven't seen pictures of your parents, but you posted pictures of your grandparents. You look a lot like your grandparents.
Apparently, I look like everybody in my family.
You look like your granddad, and you look like your grandma a lot too. Like you look, I was like, wow.
Yeah, man. Those my loves right there, man.
Yeah,
shout
man.
out to grandma. We miss you.
Absolutely. So every episode we have an underground ingredient. So the people want to know, does Ashton Martin have an underground? Oh, wait a minute. The people also want to know who's better, Usher or Chris Brown. But we're gonna save that for a different podcast. But does Ashton Martin have a
Usher? You can't even be in Atlanta and say Chris Brown, anyways. I'm telling
I'm gonna be in
Atlanta
and I'm gonna say Chris Brown.
That.
Go ahead, man.
You finna go out, people gonna be like, so I heard you think Chris Brown's better than Usher.
He's better. He's a better vocalist and dancer.
He's not a better vocalist. we're not even gonna go there. Usher is a way better vocalist than Chris Brown, but he is a better. Chris Brown, I would admit, is more athletic, so therefore he has the attribute to be a better dancer. But vocal wise, no man, no. Bro.
Man,
he cannot out-sing Usher, bro.
Man, I've heard Chris Brown get on songs and he make the song be whack, but Chris Brown makes that song a hit.
And Usher's been doing that before we were here. Since he was like 13, 14, he's been doing that same exact thing, bro.
I think Usher only got one good album, man. No, I'm joking. I'm trolling. He's got a lot of good albums. I didn't mean that, yo. I didn't mean that.
Confession is that album, though. I'm not even gonna hold you on that. Like that's his best album.
I like My Way. I like what's it called? A701.
Yeah,
and I like Confessions. All good albums.
I don't think no album, like me personally, I don't think no album he ever put out has touched before and after has touched Confessions, bro. Like that one is kind of like all the way from top to bottom. It's just consistently fire. Like
one of my favorite R&B songs is from Usher. I think you wanna leave the one I'm with. Start a new. I love that song, man. I listen to that song anytime, man. It's a great song.
Dope song, man.
But do you have
shout out to them, man?
Yeah, shout out to Usher and Chris Breezy, man. Shout out to both of them, man.
Yes, sir. I got my ingredient. My ingredient for this episode is gonna be Too Benji. He just released a project called Heaven Sent Baby. He's actually Atlanta home, but he's stays in Savannah because he goes to Savannah University. He's also a radio host, and that's how I actually met him. I went there for an interview, and shout out to Underground Takeaholics. He's a co-host with him and his partner. How you guys doing? What's happening? And then he also hosts freestyle battles as well. And just those loads of other stuff, man. This dude always on the grind, man. I checked out his EP a couple days ago, and it's fire. Like, absolute fire from top to bottom. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy, Too Benji. We're going to put your info at the bottom. So, if you want to check him out, click the link below and tap into my dog.
100 for my underground ingredient, my guy, Bantana, friend of mine, also collaborator. And he just dropped an EP yesterday called Finger Food. I listened to it. The first song, man, that first song of that EP is crazy, man. I shared it on my story. That song is insane. So check out my guy Bantana. Man, he rapped his ass off on that thing. Check out Finger Food. It's available on all platforms. It's going to be in the description.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But as always, man, I'm Lucrative.
I go by the name of Ashton Martin.
And this is the ingredient where many things go into making many things. See y'all next time.
Stay blessed. Stay safe. Stay inside.